is that I do not believe that the American people are that much worse than other people. I say we have way too many laws on the books. Of course, along with the National Defense Authorization Act on January 1st, there were 40,000 new laws placed on our books. What I would like to be is the first president to get rid of 40,000 useless laws. After the Constitutional Convention, Franklin was asked what had they given us, and his remark was, we have given you a republic if you can keep it, which is a major task, because if we don't change our way, if our revolution is not successful, we're going to lose it. But they had a high disregard for pure democracy, not the democratic process of electing leaders, but the process of letting the majority dictate against the minority. And they considered that a danger. But I think we're at that point now. We believe that if you get that 51%, they can undermine the rights of the individuals. The purpose of a republic is to protect the rights of all individuals, and not to protect, and that would be one of the rare limited functions of the federal government. But their reason that they didn't like democracy, they said eventually when you get a pure democracy, it tends to waste. And when you think about the waste in this country, because there's always those in power and can manipulate and maneuver and get the contracts and all the things that go on behind in the Federal Reserve, it wastes and it also consumes wealth. We're consuming wealth now. We're not producing wealth. We haven't had any significant new jobs in the last 10 years. And we've had 30-some million new people in this country. So we're wasting and we're consuming, and their prediction at the time was if you allow that to happen, you will self-destruct. Now, the Soviet system self-destructed. It was predictable because that type of system isn't functionable. But our system isn't functional either. It's not as ruthless as communism, but in a way it's wasteful and it consumes. It's built on debt, it's built on paper money and the powerful special interests, and it's becoming known that the groups are lining up, you know, the 99 and 1, and we got to tax the rich and this sort of thing. Now, I'm not for taxing the rich if they honestly earn their living. That's okay. But I'm for dealing with those individuals, and that's a large number of the very, very wealthy making the billions, because they get special treatment, either from the contracts or the special interest in the bailouts. That's a different system, and that is causing resentment. And this is the reason that we're more or less at an impasse in Washington, D.C., because there was a lot of compromise. I always argue that we have to have compromise and work together. When we were very wealthy and had money in the bank, the compromise was easy. Conservatives and liberals said, we'll vote for your package, I'll vote for your package, and they would pass endlessly spending money. But it isn't there anymore. In the last 4 years, that's why this is different. We realize the Treasury is empty, the productivity is down, and we have to do something about it. That means to produce, you can't have the government in the way. What you have to have is a clear understanding of property rights. You have to have a clear understanding of monetary policy, not fiat money, but gold and silver as legal tender. You have to have a government that will support and enforce contracts, not violate contracts on purpose. The contract is very important. So it's not like there wouldn't be regulations in a free market, but they would be tough. They talk about whether it's lack of regulation, that's why we had the financial crisis. But that isn't true. We had the wrong kind of regulations that weren't working, and it would have been much easier to go through bankruptcy and punish the people who overextended themselves, rather than buying the bad debt and dumping it on the American people behind the scenes in a deceitful manner. So we know what we have to do. We know that what our problems are, but we have to really understand this whole issue of liberty. I am absolutely convinced that the understanding of liberty will bring us together. Because we won't be fighting over how we're going to use our liberties. Once they go on this tangent of saying that we are going to mold personal behavior and we're going to tell people how they can spend their money, it is endless. For too many years now, the founders had it together as one package, but the last 100 years we have divided this. Some people defended civil liberties a little bit better than the others. Some people defended economic liberty a little bit better, but it's all one. But you have to understand, liberty comes to you as an individual. It's important to you as an individual. You have a right to your life, to your own lifestyle, and you ought to have a right to your money as well. I'm convinced a revolution is going on. It is an intellectual revolution. It has been said that probably 100 years before our own original revolution, that the ideas were being studied and understood by a minority of people. It wasn't 50, 60, 70% who understood the issue, but there was that irate, tireless minority that agitated and kept setting the brush fires of liberty in the minds of men.